Chapter 1. Static in the Silence. As a kid, he'd visit his grandfather's cabin every fall, just a dirt road, a fire pit, and endless trees. He hadn't been back in over a decade. Not since Grandpa Harlan passed away, but when the lawyer called and said the place was now his, he figured a weekend in the woods wouldn't hurt. It started the first night. At around 2 o'clock a.m., Colton woke up to a sound low, distant, almost like a voice filtered through a broken radio. He sat up in bed, heart thudding, trying to locate it, but the sound stopped as suddenly as it began. Just static. He thought maybe it was the old wind-up radio on the shelf, but it wasn't plugged in. He turned it off anyway. Then he heard it again, closer this time, and quat. "This is a weather alert. Stay inside," and quat. The voice was wrong. Hollow. Like someone was impersonating a radio broadcast. Colton grabbed his flashlight and stepped out onto the porch. The air was sharp and still. No animals, no wind, no sounds until a bone-rattling screech shattered the silence. He swung the light toward the trees. Nothing but the trees. They were moving, not shaking from wind, shifting like they were making room. Then he saw it. 2 towering sirens swiveled just above the treetops, mounted on a neck that shouldn't have existed. A long, stretched figure, with gray, emaciated limbs and cables hanging from its ribs like torn veins. The sirens buzzed and clicked as the thing took another step forward, shaking the ground, and quat. Colton, and quat. It moaned, its voice a distortion of his mother's, then his father's, then his own. He ran back inside and slammed the door. Chapter 2. Signal lost. The next morning, Colton tried to leave. He packed everything in a panic and jumped into his truck, but his phone had no signal. The road had vanished, swallowed by trees that hadn't been there before. He drove in circles. The forest seemed to shift behind him, rearranging like a maze. That night, the voice returned, and quat. "Help me," and quat. It cried in a woman's voice, someone he didn't know, and quat. "It hurts," and quat. Said a man, closer, then static, then silence, until it spoke again, clearer than before, and quat. "You brought it back with you," and quat. Chapter 3. The Truth in the Static. Colton found an old journal in the cabin, tucked behind a loose brick in the fireplace. It was his grandfather's. The entries were rambling at first, but soon they became terrified. And GT, the government knew. They covered it up in the 60s. A Cold War experiment. Signals too strong for human minds. The creature grew from the frequencies feeds on attention, fear, memory. And GT, it wears the voices of the dead. It broadcasts grief like a disease. And GT, I heard my wife last night. She's been gone 20 years. And GT, it only comes when you listen too long. Colton realized he already listened too long. Chapter 4. The Rescue after running to the force. We got found and we at home. The end.